When we think about algorithm, I often like to compare it to, say, a recipe. So when my mom cooks, say it's some meat item, right? If those ingredients are data and the final product is the algorithm, the outcome that she wants from that food is the health and the happiness of her children, right? That's the bias she has. But when you try to eat a similar recipe in a restaurant, the chef in a restaurant would also use the same ingredients. But for a chef and the owner of the restaurant, the outcome that he or she wants is the profitability for the restaurant. And because of that, they could cut corners on hygiene and the quality of onions that they would get and the quality of meat they would buy, right? So there's a bias. Even though you use the same data, even you use the same ingredients, it could be fed with that bias. So from the very beginning of the tech industry, of the information economy, companies like Google have always been biased. Because for them, the way they've arranged data was not like our parents, our mom, who would cook food. The way they would have arranged data is more like a chef in a restaurant, right? Today's AI also thrives on the level of data that we've compiled for last 20 years. And every bit of data that has been compiled for last 20 years has been fed with that bias. So what will happen tomorrow is that we're going to have that algorithmic divide. We're not going to have a digital divide. We're going to have an algorithmic divide because the AI algorithms in themselves would be hugely biased because those biases have been fed for over last 20, 30 years, right? And algorithmic biases are more dangerous than the digital divide. So for last 20 years, we used to speak about a digital divide. And it's easier to measure that there is a digital divide between you and me based on do you have an internet connection or not? What kind of smartphone you use? Do you have a computer in your house or not? But when you're talking about an algorithmic divide, algorithms are totally opaque. We don't know what they are. We don't know how they function, right? If a chef were to cook a food, he or she would present in a nice plate in a 5-star restaurant or in a Michelin class restaurant. But you'd not know the intention behind, the biases that have been behind that particular food, right?
Definitely.
So these are the challenges that I think we'll face.
Yeah, definitely.